Hey guys, this is AzumangaDiohFan here, and I have a video that's so spoopy, it makes PT look like the Care Bears. Basically, it's about this guy named Top's Videos who made a list of the top 25 lost episode creepypastas, and it wasn't very good. If you don't know why, well, here it is.
This video contains disturbing content, violent content, jump scares,
And Speakonia robots.
Doug's real life. It started with the intro animations of the line drawings, but the characters never appeared. The lines continued as normal, reacting as if the usual characters were there. Once the intro ended, it switched to show Doug in a dark room, writing in his journal. He wasn't narrating his writing like he usually would do in the show. He just silently wrote for about a minute. The episode itself opened with Doug eating breakfast.
Oh, screw the rest of this segment. That's the scariest part of the whole creepypasta. I mean, seriously. This part was so scary that I literally had no pants after this part.
Axis Powers, Hetalia, episode 23.5.
And the scariest part about this episode was that it was 2 minutes as opposed to the usual 5.
Tom and Jerry, lost episode. It opens up with Tom and the owner in a typical house, but Tom's owner seemed even angrier than other Tom and Jerry episodes. The first scene shown in the episode shows the owner stomping on Tom's tail in a very realistic and painful way, because Tom was sleeping by the basement door. The owner then starts yelling at Tom to never go down there. Tom, clearly terrified, runs away to another room. Jerry then comes out of a mouse hole and follows Tom into the next room. The next few minutes then show the regular Tom and Jerry routine, where Jerry tricks Tom into chasing him into the basement door a few times. But each time the owner catches Tom, inflicts realistically painful injuries, which stays with Tom even after the scene ends. After this, Tom starts to cry and mumbles to Jerry not to bother him anymore. You can tell what he's doing by his body language. Jerry just laughs at him and pushes him back to the basement door. The owner catches him again, but this time goes ballistic. Jerry seemed like he was finally taking pity on Tom, so Jerry picks up a knife and starts stabbing the owner in the leg, quite graphically. Soon after, Tom opens the basement door, and they carry the body down the stairs. Multiple other bodies were then seen down there, decaying and showing signs of their violent deaths. Tom and Jerry shook hands, but Jerry suddenly gets an evil look in his face, and Tom says in a ghastly, deep voice, "Don't you believe it?" Jerry stabs Tom, killing him instantly, and throws his corpse along with the other bodies. The last shot of the episode then shows Jerry putting up a for sale sign on the yard of the house, laughing, clearly planning to do it all over again.
T&J lost episode. This belongs in a commode. Hyper-realistic blood. Characters not acting as they should. Look out! This one's so cliche. Bill, 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 Bill. Character with evil eyes stares at your pair every time. I don't know what this is, but it sure ain't scary. Jizz, look out! This one's so cliche.
Happy Appy.
Oh, I know. Is it a story about a guy who was so obsessed with his smartphone that he turned it to a smartphone, and when he sold his smartphone, he turned to a Pharrell? Cause if that wasn't the case, I'd be very disappointed.
Angry Sylvester. There was an episode back in 1998 which starred Sylvester from the Looney Tunes. This episode was reported as being strangely different and disturbing when compared to other previously aired episodes. This particular episode did not have the same intro as the Looney Tune cartoons usually would. It just skipped the title screen and displayed a living room of a house which was drawn entirely in two colors, red and black.
And thus, this episode was also known as Revenge of the Virtual Boy.
The Three Stooges, Dead Dunderheads.
Man, they'll make a lost episode creepypasta out of anything these days. Well, while we're at it, here's my idea for a lost episode creepypasta. Punky Brewster, time to shine. Punky Brewster was basically like Annie as an 80s TV sitcom. In this episode, Punky has a nightmare over having her first period. She notices that the walls are covered in slimy and smelly blood that make her feel sick. Punky then experienced being punched in the stomach by an unseen force, while becoming more and more angry the longer she was in the nightmare.
Teletubbies, Seesaw. An uncut, possibly snuff version of the Teletubbies show was reported on VHS back in 1995. The tape was labeled Seesaw and featured the Teletubbies running down a hill to a static image of a seesaw.
No, I'm pretty sure that's a slip and slide, but please, do go on.
A bear's face flashed on the screen.
Holy shit, it's Freddy Fazbear, and he's blue for some reason.
The seesaw was seen again, but this time with gore around it.
Dude, get your period water off the slip and slide.
Arthur, Death of Grandma. Arthur is an animated educational television series for children, with its first episode back in 1996.
I'm sorry, 1996? Is that like a porno version of 1999? If so, then...
Goosebumps, lost episode. One removed episode from the highly popular series Goosebumps was called Hide and Seek, which featured three girls, Rachel, Amy, and Emily, at a sleepover, who all sat in a circle. Amy had apparently been telling scary horror stories,
some of which were even better than half the creepypastas on this list.
This person looked different. Their face was all blurry and his voice was rather deep. He said to Emily, When Emily crawled back inside the cupboard, crying, the figure talked directly to the camera.
You see, this is what happens when you let the Crypt Keeper cosplay as Whoopi Goldberg.
Little Bear and the Big Red Book.
This lost episode was rather an animation made by the author's brother, but nonetheless, it contained something rather unfortunate. The whole episode revolved around this big red book, which Father Bear was reading. Little Bear noticed how sad and angry he looked when his father read it, and when he left the room, Little Bear would start reading from it. A voice that was not spoken by Little Bear or anyone from the show started reading the disturbing poems. For every poem that was read, Little Bear got more and more depressed, and everything in the show slowly started to fade to grayscale, except for the book, which was still red. Suddenly, everything stops and cuts to Mother Bear, tucking Little Bear back in the bed. But Little Bear looked extremely shocked and stared straight at the audience with a blank expression. His eyes were extremely bloodshot and his fur was all mangled. As the Mother Bear turned off the lights and left the room, Little Bear slowly started to sing as the room got more dark.
A pair of red eyes appeared above Little Bear.
But what Little Bear didn't realize was that the red eyes were really Darkheart from Care Bears disguised as a Gengar named Bonnie.
Then, it faded to a picture of the author when he was a child, standing next to a grave with his mother's name on it.
I think your evidence would beg to differ.
Rap-a-rat.
You know, do we really need another furry animal rapper? Wasn't Parappa enough?
Ed, Ed, and Eddie, lost episode. As you may know, the popular show Ed, Ed, and Eddie has been running for a long time. However, between October 7th, 2003 and October 21st, 2003, Episode 34 was accidentally released 1 week before it was scheduled to. Apparently, the quality of the episode was mediocre when held to the regular standards.
Damn you, outsourced animation!
When the show came back, it showed a hairy Rolf fisting a cow on a loop.
Rolf, the cow fister! Ew.
Johnny then comes up from Naz's couch and crawls out on all fours in a way you would usually see in a cartoon. The odd thing about him was that his eyes appeared to be missing.
Oh, come on, Taddies. We all know you colored in his eyes with Photoshop.
Squidward's suicide.
Boo!
Candle Cove. Around 1971 or 1972, a kid show, simply known as Candle Cove, was broadcasted in a local TV station at around 4 p.m. on Channel 58. The show was about a little girl named Janice, who imagined herself to be friends with pirates, which took place in Candle Cove on a ship called the Laughingstock, with a pirate named Pirate Percy that got too scared very easily.
And let us not forget the awful Edwin impression he set upon the children.
The show introduced a creepy villain who has a nightmarish skeleton marionette called the Skin Taker.
No, that's just what Foxy's gonna look like in Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Lost episodes.
So, the #1 lost episode creepypasta is all of the creepypastas? What? Well, I guess we all learned a valuable lesson today. This video lacks hyper-realistic piggies.